okay? And the report is about all describe what you have to do, that you have to prepare a report for the design report, yeah? And then it has to be a professional report and with very much details, scientific details, and reasonable assumptions that you may make. And when you make reasonable assumptions, it's not based on your baseless assumption. It has to be based on literature. You know, it has to be backed by evidence from where it is based. Okay, so all these things has to be done, and then and it has to be very informative and very clear. And when I read this report, then I should be able to really understand what are you trying to do with this report, what is the expected outcome from this report, and all this, you know, because this report is to be given to, for example, Sydney Water, right? So before I give it to Sydney Water, it has to satisfy me. So which means this is how I will try to assess the quality of your report. And I will show you some of the, okay, because I can't see the, where is it now? Because I'm using 3 screens. Okay, I'll just put up this one and then, but I can't see the other one. Okay. This is here. Okay, are you able to see this table?
Yes, I can see.
The table, right?
Yeah,
Okay, which screen is here? Okay, that's fine. Okay, now I have divided based on this format of the report structure that we are expecting you to write. This is our guide. It's not exactly that you have to follow this one. So you may, if you have a better format, reporting format, you are most welcome to prepare. But this is just used as a guide. So if you use this as, for example, what is the good report and what is the poor report? This is what I'm going to show you based on the experience from the previous batch of students. So some students, so let's start with the cover page. Some students, they don't have even a cover page. Okay, there's no title, no name of the student, and even no, I would say, even if it's written, it's very poorly formatted. It doesn't look like a title. And there's no the assignment page also there. It's not there. So this, I don't want you to repeat that. Okay, so if it's a good format, should have a clear titles and author details and assignment cover sheet. Okay, so this is what you have to remember. And the other one is abstract or the executive summary. Usually we expect you to write executive summary because abstract is a little bit different from executive summary. Executive summary will be that kind of the summary of your report where even layman people can understand. So abstract is a little bit like a scientific kind of thing. And it should be very clear, concise, and also it should contain the context of your report. What is the objective of your report? Some findings and conclusions. So within that summary, you have to include everything, okay? So that when I read the summary, I can understand what this report is about, what are you trying to do, what you got, and what is expected from this one, okay? So this is what you expect from it. And for some people, they're sometimes very poor written abstract. Abstract is very general and not really describing the works that you have done, but it's very generic about the assignment. So this is that will be considered as a poor report, okay? And table of contents. Some people even don't prepare the table of contents. So of course, that's why we have provided some marks. So please see that one, and that will be used as a guide for giving you the marks, allocating the marks. And even because you're submitting this on a digital format, at least you should have this link, because if you insert this title as a link, that is when you click it, that link, we can immediately go to the page that we want. So you can still, if you prepare all this, then it becomes a very professional report. So remember, this is a professional report. And okay, so I've repeated the experience summary. So now let's go to background and objectives, okay? So background objective should be very clear for a good report, very informative, and this should set the context for your report. Okay, when I'm trying to read this report, I have to understand, okay, what are you going to be doing there? Okay, what is the current situation, and based on that, what you're planning to do. And of course, the objective will say what you will be doing for that one. Yeah, what is the main objective of this one after, based on this context. Okay, but sometimes students write out that very out of context discussion here. Okay, you write something very general in this, and then nothing related to what you're trying to do. So when you are trying to do something, report, you have a clear, you should have a clear objective. And based on, before arriving at a clear objective, you have to discuss the context, okay? So that's how you have to do. So if you have done not done like that, and you just very generic discussion, then yeah, you get less marks. And the other thing, the topic is the current wastewater assessment, treatment plant assessment of the Malabar wastewater treatment plant. So for a good report to contain, you should have a clear and very highly informative background of the Malabar wastewater treatment plant, including a brief history, and what are the significant design part, design and data and the performances of this treatment plant. Okay, like the capacity of the what type of wastewater is treated, the characteristics of wastewater, then what are the treatment processes required, technologies adopted. All this has to be detailed mentioned in the existing one, okay? And including, you have to have a very clear process diagram for the wastewater treatment at Malabar. But if it is, say, some students write very unclear of what the existing treatment plant looks. Sometimes they even describe a wastewater treatment plant somewhere which is not what we are expecting for the Malabar wastewater treatment plant. And sometimes the data, some people even present a very fictitious data from somewhere they present it. So in that case, then we know that the student has not done the good groundwork for the current wastewater treatment plant. So then in that case, you lose the marks. And there's another section will be on alternate wastewater treatment plant using MBR. So this is what you're asking to do in the report, right? So the good report should have a clear context of why you're trying to propose MBR. It's not just because we are asking you to do that, but you have to justify your own way of why you think that you're proposing MBR. And also, you should have a very clear diagram of how the existing process looks, how when you modify to the MBR it should look. You should draw your own diagram, not just pasting it from somewhere else. And you have to do all design calculations here, okay? All the design calculation. You can either present the design calculations within your report, inside the report, or you can attach it as an appendix. So it doesn't matter. So we can equally consider that. And you can have a design calculation as a table form or even whatever it is, but it has to have all the input parameters and your output parameters, and all those things have to be clearly mentioned. And based on that, you are recommending for the design, which one values you are selecting, okay? And also you should have when you design when you choose the parameters, we have given some guide for to choose parameters, but you have to do assumptions based on literature, okay? So you have to find, and when you do this, it has to be a reasonable assumption. Reasonable assumption has to be backed by evidence, okay? So all these things has to be very clear. And you have to mention the water quality parameters. If you don't, because some people don't mention about water quality parameter. So how do you know how's the performing, okay? Water quality parameters, I'm saying, okay, this is the quality of water they are getting as a raw wastewater from the consumers, and then this is how we're going to treat, and how much. This is currently how water is treated up to this point, the quality of water, and then when you propose an alternative, how much better quality of water that you're going to treat. So all this water quality parameter has to be mentioned, okay? And you have to put the rationale of each of these choices, okay? So you have to explain in detail why you are choosing this and what function it does. Okay, so some can be generic, but you have to explain it why you're doing for your own option. And if it is poor report, then you see sometimes people just propose MBR from nowhere. It doesn't even set any context. And they even don't say that they're either upgrading it or they're making it a new treatment plan, or sometimes it's very unclear even they are not including any design calculation there, and they're just putting up some numbers there, and they don't mention water quality, the rationales of choice, why you are proposing that, and all these things, scientific evidence backup. They don't provide everything what is required in the design report. So then how will I, as your assessor, know that you have done accurately, right? So be careful, just to mention or to include whatever you think from your own perspective. It has to be backed by strong evidence and reference. So last is this drinking water augmentation. So usually people make a lot of mistake in this one also. And you have to provide two distinct options, okay? How to convert the existing plant into a process design so that you can get a very high quality water for drinking water augmentation. So you can supply, it's not, drinking water augmentation is not really supplying this water for direct consumption, but to replace some of the fresh water used for drinking. In some applications where fresh water is used, and this can be, recycled water can be as a substitute. So this is what you have to be targeting. Okay, you have to clearly have two different options, and clear process diagrams you have to present on your own, not just pasting from somewhere, from the website. And you have to describe what is the advantage and disadvantage of each of these options there. And then finally, you have to say which option 1 and 2 you prefer. Okay, you would prefer, because you are going to advise Sydney Water. If you give a lot of options, Sydney Water will be scratching their head and say, which should I choose? So that's why you have to give an option. Okay, based on your judgment, then this option looks favorable because of this and this and this reasons. Okay, so you'll have to mention that. And if the poor report looks like there's no clear context why you're trying to propose these, sometimes option is only one, sometimes there's too many options, and sometimes the students don't know why they're proposing the option because they don't even any reason. Sometimes they provide options which is even will get not the quality of water that you want for drinking water augmentation. So sometimes it's just from the secondary treatment, they just put sand filtration and they say, okay, supply for augmentation. That's not possible. You have to have high quality treatment. So for high quality treatment, what sort of advanced treatment processes you have to add? So this all has to be shown, okay? And also they don't mention what are the disadvantages and advantages of this option. So in that way, you will lose the marks. Okay, there's the tables and figures, okay? Tables and figures, if it's for a good report, it should, if it is not your own tables and figures, it has, the sources has to be properly cited where it is given. And if possible, try to draw your own diagrams as much as possible, okay? Not just pasting from the website, especially if you're proposing your own process, you have to do your own process diagram, not putting up that. But if you're describing, for example, the processes, process layer diagram for the Malabar wastewater treatment plant, you can of course put that because you can't really change that. But if you're proposing your own alternative, but then you have to do your own. You can just paste it from the website. Okay, so this is one, and then sometimes figures are poorly prepared by not complete, and you know that if it is done that way, then you lose some marks. Then finally, you have the references. Some students have only few, 1 or 2, 3 references. You lose marks for that. At least we expect around 10 minimum references to be included in that. And referencing style should be properly done. And either you we would expect you to at this stage to be using the referencing software such as EndNote. If you are using some other reference software, you can do that. the reference should be mixed, a balance of the reports that's available in the website, and also the scientific literature which is published as a peer reviewed, like a journal papers. Okay, I would expect you to refer few journal papers, and it's a balance of not only just report from the website alone. Okay, so this is fairly covered, but I've forgot to mention the conclusions here and recommendations. So in the conclusions, you should have summarized of the context of what the report is about, what was the objective of the report, and what you did in the report, and findings in within your report, and then conclusions, like recommendations kind of thing. Okay, this say option 1 and option 2 from there, and I would prefer this option based on. So those kind of recommendations should be there. So it should be a good summary of everything that you have done. Okay, and if you just give a very generic conclusion, which is not at all related to your work that you've done, then you're in trouble. Okay, so I think I covered most of the things. So this is what you are expected to submit as a professional report. Thank you, and back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Sharif. So it looks like a very detailed, good and poor report for your assignment too. So do you have any questions to Sharif?
Yeah, Professor, I have some questions.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, how are you?
Okay, fine, thank you.
Yeah, so actually I was looking on assignment, and I already watched your video that you uploaded already, 3 videos.
Yeah.
And I went through all the all the modules and PDFs you already uploaded in modules as well. So I have a question about this. Like you mentioned, like we have to provide a brief background on the Malabar wastewater treatment plant, including history, location, capacity, coverage, and etc. So my question is mostly we use Google Scholar for finding like details and all these things. If we are unable to find these details on Google Scholar, so where to find like these resources for getting the enough information for wastewater treatment plant?
So most of the references you'll find from the Sydney Water also. Okay, not that easy to find. That I just give find the report and then provide to you. There are many sources because it's hard to find one big report that mentions everything. Okay, so one option is also you can even contact the Malabar wastewater treatment plant people and ask some information that you not able to find from the website. Okay, so what we're trying to do is for the students for you to explore. Okay, because this is kind of exercise as well, because it's not just readily finding from the website. If everything is there, of course, then your job is very easy, right? So we know that it's not that easy to get some information. So when you don't get the information that you want, you to think about where you should get where is the best place that you should get that you can get the right information. So all those things you have to have the plan in your mind. Okay, so that's why I was saying there are information mentioned in the scientific published papers, which you can find from the Google Scholar, and going to some of the journal website. There are non-scientific reports. They are just reports from some reports done by some government agencies, by some non-governmental agencies, sometimes by some consultants. Okay, so you can look at those references and do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you also mentioned like component and diagram, like you have to like make this type of. So you are talking about like layout and diagrams. So you mentioned like we should use our drawing and all these things. So what I mean, like if we are going to draw any diagram, and there might be lots of information required for drawing the diagram. So how many in like how many details, how much details we can include? Like might be because I was watching the video, then there was many steps. So how much details we can include in our diagrams and tables?
We expect it to to include most of the major processes. You know, because for example, wastewater treatment plant,
Yeah,
it has primary, preliminary, primary, secondary, and tertiary advanced treatment, right? So
yeah,
all these processes have to be clearly mentioned in that. See, if you cannot draw in one line, you can draw it in second line, something like that. It doesn't matter, but it has to be clear what processes you are putting. Okay.
Mhm.
Which process is linked to where and where it is recycling from where. So all these things has to be clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not a big deal. You can just use even, you can use, the PowerPoint to draw this simple diagram. You can, if you're using AutoCAD, you can do it. If you're using, you can use a Word file, or some people do it of some advanced, some other software to do, but I usually do in either AutoCAD or the PowerPoint. So it's not a fancy diagram that you have to do. It's just a line diagram. Okay, which process is connected. So you have to have a clear, the clear diagram should have clearly show which process is there and for what function and which is process connected to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's yeah. So it doesn't matter. It's you can have one full page with this with the process. It doesn't matter. So it's what I look at is how fancy or beautiful your picture is. It doesn't matter to me. I look at the which process linked to where and how this treatment train is relevant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And last question is like, I think we will be needed some calculations for our assignment as well. I think so.
Yes, it do. So we have a lot of biological calculations. So you have to do aerobic design, aerobic reactor design. You have to do all this MBR design. Okay, so all the calculations are given there. Okay, so you can use those equations to design your process.
Sharu,
Yeah.
Thank
sure
you.
that the student face a lot of issues to calculate all the detailed biological treatment process. So
Yeah.
can you show a little bit of equation from our scenario and assessment
Okay.
detailed explanation? So all the equations are available
Yeah. Yeah.
our assessment format. So Sharu will share can you give a little bit of, yeah?
Okay, I'll just show you quickly from the file that I used for making the video. Okay, so this has all the equations. So I forgot to upload the PDF file that I used for video, so that you can because sometimes the video file may not be that clear. Just hold on. Okay, just hold on. Okay. Let me show you this. Share. Yeah, are you able to see this?
We can see that, yeah.
You can see this, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
This photo. Okay. So you will see in this slide some of design parameters, okay? So here you have some of the calculations. Okay, just wait. It is, okay, just wait. Why is it showing this one? Okay. Can you see this slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. module 2C, yeah?
Yeah, module 2C. You just see the, are you able to see the slide 42 or just the title page, front page?
Only title front pages.
Okay, so that's the problem here. Okay, I'll put on the.
Yeah. Now I
Now
can see a lot of equations.
yeah. So this page, first, let's do the calculation. How do you calculate the? Okay. Next. No. Yeah. So you have calculation here. Okay. You can calculate the bioreactor size, the volume of the bioreactor using this equation. Yeah. Okay. So it's a biological the total volume required for the biology aeration reactor plus the anoxic zone. So basically, this equation can give you the calculation, and all these parameters are given. Like, for example, BOD is given, and average dry weather flow is given. And when you can multiply this, you can get BOD loading, and you have all the data for the SRT. Then you have also for what is the sludge yield. Also, you have given. And so it's just basically using these equations given to do the calculations. So for example, here you can do the calculation of how to calculate the clarifier based on the surface loading, and loading rates are given. So there is not much complication here, but equation something when you look at it, looks complicated, but it's not that, because best design when you look at that. It looks like, but when you do calculating for quite some time, then you see that the designs are quite easy. Okay, it's not very complex. Okay, of course, if you ask to find some of the data yourself for parameters, then it's challenge. But almost all the data that's required for this is given, so there is no complication in that. Okay, and after that, you can even find what is the member required for, and based on the number of module area and the cassette area, you can find how many cassettes are required, how many. So it's just a basic calculation, and even the calculation for the energy calculation here, like basically you are trying to ultimately calculate how much oxygen is required per day to supply oxygen to the BOD. The BOD is the organic waste that is coming. Yeah? So you know that how much oxygen is coming to the reactor per day based on the BOD concentration and your flow rate. And if you know that much, and we have a calculation where we can see how much oxygen is required per kg of BOD coming. And based on that, you can calculate, okay, how much oxygen is required per day. Based on that, how much to provide 1 kg of oxygen, for example, what is the aeration efficiency? So this is also given, and based on that, we can find the power required to provide aeration in the aerobic zone. And yeah, so even you can find aeration zone, and then also how much flux for management of the flux. So for example, you have to provide air bubbling to prevent the membrane fouling from happening. And so in that case, we have given a guide as to how much energy is required. So from there, you can see, based on the flow rate, okay, this much is the estimated amount of power required for providing the blower. So all these things are equations are given here. So if you don't know, find difficulty understanding, just let me know. I can explain you to a separate Zoom meeting. But first, you try to work out yourself. Try to understand. It's something difficult to understand immediately, but if you attempt a few times more, yeah, it is clear. It's not very complex. It's just a mathematics. Okay. Back to
So before everybody start assignment 2, so please look at the video, which is uploaded in Canvas. So Saurabh already explained all the detail, how to calculate reactor size, how to calculate energy and aeration. So it's simply you can try to understand and utilize your equation given in this slide. So yeah, you need time to look at all the videos. Yeah, so you can start your assignment after you fully understand your assignment 2 and then all the equation. So any other question from other students? So you can just switch off your microphone and then, yeah, you can talk, you can switch on and ask a question. Anybody?
I think if nobody is asking, I have last question only. So
Yes,
Professor, like
your last question. Yeah.
only, sorry.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
as
that's
like
right.
as we calculated all these things, so according to our outcomes, do we have to draw like biological treatment plant or aerobic like any plant, or we just have to calculate these things?
Yeah, you calculate and then present the results, and then yeah, then you that process diagram doesn't have to mention all these dimensions and all what's a volume recurrent. No, you can show it in the table, you can show it in the appendix, whatever.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So,
I want to ask.
yes,
Okay,
please
go ahead.
keep up.
Yeah, yes, sir. I want to ask that
Yeah.
when we see the format of the assignment format, in that assignment title is stakeholder. First assignment is stakeholder engagement report, and when we look back into the canvas and read the title, then it's just a second, sir. Yeah, then the title is the community engagement strategy for the wastewater reuse and desalination. Sir, so we can also have put the information related to the desalination in the first assignment, or it's just a community engagement report on the only stakeholders.
Yes, yes, so you can combine together. Main assignment is regarding how you can make a better way of the wastewater reuse and desalination, which technology is the better in terms of energy efficiency or safety, public perception. So
Okay.
the question, it's not about technology, it's about the people, which
Yes.
yeah. So you can you can talk the what's the pros and cons when you select wastewater reuse or
Okay.
desalination. So which one is the better way to engage your community and how you can combine, and which technology options would be the best for the community.
Yeah, and because we when we read the assignment format, in that one there is no any describe about the desalination. That's why I only focus on the stakeholder engagement related to the direct potable reuse. So is that okay, or I have to add the information related to desalination?
You don't have to mention about desalination based on your assignment question. So you
Okay.
can mention about indirect potable reuse.
Okay. So is that okay?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So anybody else for assignment 2 or overall block 2? Already every information is available on the campus, so you can see. So we have a deadline 31st of May, so you have almost 3 weeks. So you have enough time to complete your assignment. So in the meantime, yeah, you can also email us to have a detailed question and very specific questions. So how about so far? Everybody happy for the advanced water and wastewater treatment overall subject?
Is that on? Can you?
Hello? Yeah.
close it for 1 minute, just 1 minute. Turn it off, yeah.
So if you have any, more questions, we are happy to accept. So please feel free.
Professor?
Uppiling?
Yeah, hi. It's just a generic question. I wanted to ask that all the calculation segment, all the calculation part, does it come under validation?
Okay. See, this is a design calculation.
Okay.
It's not exactly design validation, because sometimes the information that we have provided is not exactly the design parameters we provided is not exactly related to that particular plant, because it's very difficult to get the exact one. So it's not, you can't really say it's a validation, but this is like a design practice for you, okay? But if you're not satisfied with some of the design parameters that we provided as a guide, you can choose your own. That's what I'm saying, but you have to have a reasonable justification as to why you choose that. So unless, of course, there are few things, when you design a treatment plan, there's a range that you can choose design parameters, because it's not absolute, okay? It's not absolute balance, because even BOD will change very much, okay? BOD is about demand. So that's the measure of the organic matter that is coming inside the sewage water, yeah? So that also even changes very much throughout the day. Sometimes, because it's depending on how people are using. So if you in the morning, everybody is washing because they have to go to the office. So everybody will be using the toilets, everybody is using the bathroom and kitchen, and then the wastewater flow is quite high. So which means the wastewater will be quite dilute, which means the organic content will be lower. But in the afternoon or somewhere in between, people are not using much water, but maybe only if somebody is using toilet or but just for urination or for other fecal matter, then your concentration may be quite high. So it will change. So which means the design of the treatment plant is such a way that it can also take up this kind of wide range of loading, loading and loading range. So you can choose some design parameters from other plants or even from the literature. You can do that, but mention in your report why you choose that. Okay, so it's not exactly you can say validation, but I would say that this is just like for you to practice and become how to feel if you want to become a design engineer. Okay, validation will be okay if you are really trying to if somebody has designed it and then you are going to check whether this design calculations are right or wrong. So that may be a related validation, okay? So, but this is something a little bit different. Yeah, have I answered the question?
Yeah, Professor, for now it's fine. If I need any assistance, I'll let you know.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Because this assignment seems to be a bit more complicated than the previous one. And it's really very technical for me, because the previous assignment, the stakeholder it had put in both the steps, both the sides, like some managemental segment, some technical segment, all that stuff. But this purely precise and crisp report has to be submitted, and I think there will be a bit of confusion in most of the segments, just like validation or some design or some calculation. I'll let you know. Thank you.
Yeah, that's also the reason why we tried to prepare a rough guide format already given in the assignment guideline. So we try to prepare so that students are not really lost in preparing the report. At least you have a guide there. You look at the assignment guideline. We have already given the format of the report. So which means you try to follow that format of the report, and then you should be fairly able to manage it. So if you have any issues, just let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Sharon, back to you.
Yeah. So we expect from this assignment, so you have to identify and evaluate advanced technology such as membrane bioreactor compared to conventional wastewater treatment plant, which is the clarification, biological, anoxic, anaerobic, aerobic bioreactor. So which process is more cost effective, how much it's cost effective, and what kind of space required compared to the advanced MBR, membrane bioreactor, with conventional wastewater treatment plant. So you have a feeling because nowadays a lot of wastewater treatment move to the decentralized wastewater reuse. So we have to compare. It's not regarding centralized wastewater treatment plant, which is more than 200,000 cubic meter per day, such as St. Mary or Malabar wastewater treatment plant. So we have a Central Park, decentralized wastewater reuse plant, which is the membrane bioreactor, only 1,000 cubic meter per day. So nowadays, the city of Sydney and then local area, building, Barangaroo, even Darling Harbour, so they like to have a more decentralized wastewater treatment plant. So we expect you to understand what's the difference between conventional wastewater treatment plant and advanced wastewater treatment, how much we can save, how much space we can save. So that's the main point. You will understand while you are carrying on the assignment 2. So that's the point. So you don't have to worry about too much equation, too much calculation. So overall concept is, this is your concept, how they are different. And then it's better to understand how much it will be different. So we provide the equation so you understand better how this is the different. So that's our message we want to give to all of you. Any other question for block 2? So how many people already gone through this video and reading material, block 2? So can you raise your hands? Only Masing. How about other students? Okay, that's what it is. It takes time to understand what's the block 2. So first, read carefully and then join the sheriff's video. So all the details are there. Only 2 to 3 video from Maria. Yes. Okay, 2 of 3. So almost finished. So you can have all the video and then all the material. So you have a better understanding how can do your assignment too. So please spend your time during this weekend, and then you can just start from maybe end of next week for your assignment, because you have 3 weeks. So don't hurry and jump to your equation directly, rather than understand over your view of this assignment. So it'll make it easier. And then if you have any question, so please email Dr. Sharapuncho or myself, so we can organize the meeting. Or if it is simple, we can communicate through emails. Email is possible. So just email us. So that's happy we can help you out. This subject is not about troubling you. This is about how you have a basic concept of advanced water and wastewater, from socio-technical issue, from community engagement for assignment 1, and assignment 2, wastewater reuse plan and membrane bioreactor design. So we have next month the seawater desalination, or just the RO desalination plant design. So you will learn most established and very popular desalination water reuse plant in the world. So you will have a better idea after this subject. So that's our intention, to follow up this subject. any other questions from any students? So we have question, will we get extension if it is not done on time? All right, so don't ask extension from now, yeah, on. So yeah, we will see how many students they have a problem for the assignment 2, and then we will decide at maybe 2-3 days before, rather than we decide now. Otherwise, everybody will delay for your assignment 2. So hopefully, yeah, I don't mind to extend, because main point is that you finished your assignment well. That's the main point, rather than on time is the second priority. Yeah. So no worry about, yeah, if you feel you need a really extension because of your personal issue or make a much better understanding, yeah, you can ask us. But now we hope you can finish on time at this stage. So any other question? Maria, you used to have a lot of questions, right? Do you have any question, Maria?
No, that was addressed before. I think it was Mansi that asked about the layout of the plant, and that was the same thing for me. So that was it.
Oh.
And the other ones are about, of course, some of the calculations, because I'm not sure if in the flow diagrams we have to include, for example, flows, concentrations up to that point, or but what I've heard is better just to keep it simple and clean and just about the processes that we're using, not mixing quantity, concentrations, and flows.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the second what you said is correct. You don't have to, in the flow diagram, you don't have to mention all this flow parameters, and flow diagram is basically how the each process should be connected in series. We just want to understand the treatment train. You don't have to mention how much is the flow rate, how much BOD. If you mention, it's fine, but that's not required, because here we are not really doing a plant design like what Sean said. We are doing only partial of what is done, right? So we are just, we want you to have a feel of how it is designed. And then based on the design, you're just comparing the space requirement, what will be the benefit if you, how the activity sludge, conventional activity sludge plant is designed, and how the MBR plant is designed. And based on these two data, you just compare it, like how much space you are saving. So the design calculation is mostly on that context. It's not, you're not designing the whole plant. That whole design plan is just, you show the process diagram with your own drawing, okay? Okay, that's because there are, to be a professional designer, of course, it's not, you have to work with so many different experts. You have to work with environmental expert, you have civil engineering expert, because then you have to work with biological expert people, then you have to work with electrical guy, mechanical guy, because of course, when you do the calculation for energy, you just say that, okay, I need a pump that can deliver this much amount of energy. So what pump to choose, how to flow, which centrifugal pump, something different pump, that will be decided by in consultation with the mechanical engineer and some electrical engineer. So many different professionals are involved in this. Okay, but just now Europe is just the environmental process part. Okay, so you don't have to have all this detailed stuff.
Okay, thank you, Sharu. So if you have no more questions, so we will continue our communication, yeah, next week or following week, just to make sure that you fully understand assignment 2 and then make good marks. That's our intention. So please feel free to contact us and then ask any stupid question or simple question, that's fine. So don't be afraid. We will not jeopardize your question at all. So please let's have together. And then I know it's very difficult to study alone using this online teaching method, because even we are not very familiar, even though we have learned this subject for last 10 years, but it's our first time to utilize the online teaching, Zoom meeting, Canvas. Even Canvas is our for the first time. I'm just still struggling to utilize all the very high technology, but we are trying to make sure you are following well, and then give our knowledge and skill to this subject to you. So that's our intention to design this one. So if you have no more question, so we can stop here, and then we can communicate individually. So please feel free to contact us. So we are happy to work together with you. Yep. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And then have a great weekend. Also, stay safe and healthy. Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a doubt about assignment 1.
Okay, assignment one, what? Today is the due, right?
Yeah, I tried to shorten this assignment, but it's come at 25 pages, and limit is
Five.
yes.
Okay, limit is already, Leonard is clearly identified 10 to 15 pages, right?
It will be accepted or negative
Can you,
mark.
if possible, I strongly recommend you follow the instruction and guideline of assignment, because Leonard will mark your assignment 1. So he already clearly addressed 10 to 15 pages. So I recommend you can just utilize the main text in 10 to 15 page, and then you can use appendix. So
Okay.
figures and tables or some very long paragraph, so you can utilize the appendix at the end of your references. So it will make sure your main contents within 10 to 15 pages. So that's okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay, have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.